Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Jimmy Woods Gray. This is the Board of Fire Commissioners regular meeting. Today is Tuesday, July 18th, and the time is 9 a.m. If we could have the chief to lead us in the pledge.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot roll call. I'm ready to start the meeting. Ms. Gomez, could you do the roll call, please?
Woods Gray.
Here.
Babcock.
Here.
DeLugich. Here. Hudley Hayes.
Here.
Hara.
Here.
Fire Chief Crawley.
Here.
And in place of Deputy City Attorney Linda Wen is?
Carlos Delegate.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, Fire Chief, good morning.
Good morning. I'd be honored. If you could stand, please, and turn towards the flag. Hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could please remain standing and join me in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of the Los Angeles City Fire Department who have devoted their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, item number 1 on our agenda is commissioner comments. Commissioners, do you have any comments?
I guess I can start.
Okay, Dr. Hara.
Welcome back to the commission, Commissioner Hudley Hayes, who at one time was our president. And so it's an honor. And then Carlos was our attorney that Jimmy Woods Gray and I, when we first started the commission. So it's nice to see everyone back with tons of experience. Last Friday, I was at the single residency occupant unit at the James Woods Center, and I was doing health screening for the occupants, checking their blood pressure and what have you. And then apparently upstairs in one of the units, there was a problem, and 911 apparently had been called, and so basically Station 9 and 10 both responded. They both came exactly at the same time, and Captain Brian Geiger recognized who I was, and we chatted a little bit, after they had, taken care of the work and what have you, and then later on, the unit from the resource from 9 returned, and I'm wondering what's going on. And then it was Captain Geiger actually had one of the, T-shirts for me, the Wino 90 T-shirts, and
Oh, how nice.
and so that was kind of a nice nice event, and so. Once again, it's nice to see, a lot of the people with experience coming back.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? Yes?
I just wanted
Commissioner
to,
DeLuca.
good morning, everybody. I just wanted to report that I had my first, I hope of many, fire station visits on Friday, July 6th. No, it wasn't Friday, but it was July 6th. At Fire Station 12 on the A shift. And thanks for helping me set that up, all of you who are involved. And it was really interesting. I spent about 3 hours there talking with the firefighters and all the people there, and we just had a great discussion. I learned a lot, took tons of notes, and I even got to go on a run. So it was great fun. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and I look forward to doing much more of that.
Wonderful. Those are fun, huh? Very, very good. I too would like to echo what Dr. Harris said. I'm so used to seeing some people until it becomes a familiar thing, and I forget that we are in a new place and a new time. Oh, but I'd like to welcome Commissioner Huntley Hayes to the commission also. We've known each other for so long. But it's wonderful. It's good to have you back here at this particular time. Thank you. Very good. And of course, Carlos, it's good to see you, and I am really glad to see you today. Okay, very good. Any other comments?
Well, actually, since you're actually here because you chose to extend your stay as a commissioner temporarily, apparently, and I just have to say it's been my honor to work alongside of you as vice president, and we were in the original group that started here about 12 years ago now, and I guess I'll be the last man standing, so to speak, just like Steve Fazio was.
Is that how I could never argue? Dr. Harley, that is a very good point. I have enjoyed my 10 years on this board and my 2 years as the president. It was quite a joy to have to meet with and talk with the chief and the chief of staff so often, planning all those meetings. President takes a lot of time, and but it was fun. It was good. My whole stay on the fire department commission has been wonderful. I've met people who I know I will know for the rest of my life because of that's just the relationships that we have developed over the years. And riding on fire trucks is wonderful, going to fires, attending all of the various events that they have. There are so many different events every week that we are invited to attend. And especially the graduations. I have really enjoyed those, and especially when it's always when it's a diverse group, which we worked on really hard. We've rarely not had that. So I hope that we will continue to work on that as we go through the years, because diversity for this city is a really important issue. And so we pushed for that. When we first came in, we pushed and pushed, we pushed. We've had a lot of changes in the department, and I just look forward to the future of this department to continue to grow under the leadership of Chief Crowley, because she is off to a very good start, and I really support the work she's done over the years. She came in and took over fire prevention and rescued our lives, saved us from that department. And so that once she built the morale and got that department going, everything seemed to really move in a different direction. So there are many people who I've seen promote up. I've seen the growth of so many young firefighters and so many that are moved up into the ranks, and now they're with gold, they have gold badges. So that is a real honor when you see that kind of growth and that kind of progress. So that's all thanks to our leadership. And so with that, well, let's move on to the next item on our agenda, which is item number 2, public comment. Miss, you have any cards?
No cards were received today for public.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's one. Okay. You're about to miss your chance. What is that Hamilton said? You're going to miss your opportunity?
It's noted for all agenda items, Ms. Ma'am.
Okay, very good. Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning,
Okay.
President. How are you?
Oh, good. You want to speak on all items on the agenda, so you have 3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It's going to may as well keep time.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Chief Crawley, Board of Fire Commission. Those in attendance, my name is Rich Ramirez. I'm a director at UFLAC Local 112 and also a firefighter paramedic for the City of Los Angeles, LAFD. I'd like to start off just by bringing up a few issues and some concerns that UFLAC is getting calls and multiple emails, text messages, and you can name other things we're getting also about our membership and the safety because of the closures that we're doing. Just to give you an overview, the last couple of weekends, we've been shutting about 13 to 16 engine companies down a day. It's a Saturday and Sunday. About 6 to 7, 800 ambulances. The call volume has shot up. The heat has risen. You know, we talk about public safety. We talk about safety for our membership, mental health. They're holding walls up right now on the rescues in the 800s for 3 to 4 hours. I had the opportunity to work with my brothers and sisters in Battalion 1 and 11 this weekend, and I'll be proud to say we had about 10 after at Fire Station 9 because there was an engine shutdown, so those calls were just coming out nonstop. I did have an opportunity to work on FRV 9, which is doing a tremendous job in helping out the community in that area, but I want to get back to the main subject is the safety. So we have approximately a couple of hundred members that are just on probation just out of the drill tower. The drill tower is doing a phenomenal job at training these members in a short amount of time and send them out to the field to continue their education and their training. There's no training being done on the weekends right now because we're so short-staffed and we're so the call volume is up, that the normal routine and all of us that have came up through the ranks that are firefighters know that on the weekends we train. Usually businesses are closed. We can use vacant buildings, so on and so forth. That's not being done. Hasn't been being done in the last year to 2 years because of staffing. So we have these young members that are getting thrown out to the field. Excuse me if I use the wrong language, but literally they're getting pushed out to the field and the training's not there anymore. So we're experiencing a lot of CTSs, PSDs, interviews because these members are just getting pushed through, and the captains don't have the allowed time to train with these members. So the concern is the safety for these members and the training issues. Is that it? Continue.
Yes, you can.
Okay, well, thank you for the time. I just really wanted to implement and talk about the safety issues, and we look forward to working with the new Board of Fire Commission, Janethia, Sharon, Corinne, Mr. Hayes, and Chief, and all the staff. So we appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you for always bringing us the issues that are from the field. Okay, very good. There are no other comment cards, so we'll move on to the next item, and the next item is item number 3, the election of officers. And Ms. Gomez, you're in charge of that.
Okay, just to let everyone know, we're going to open nominations. We're going to close nominations. Those will require a motion in a second. And then we'll do the nomination, which does not require a second. Thereafter, we'll do a voice vote for whatever the nominations are. Okay? I have a lot of writing to do, so just give me a second and we'll go through the process, and I'm going to defer to City Attorney De La Guerra in case we need any corrections. And we'll go through the process for the president and then the vice president. So, nominations for the office of president are now in order. Are there any nominations?
Just speak in the mic. Just speak in the mic.
I nominate Commissioner Hudley Hayes.
Thank you. Let me know.
Please need a second, Ms. Gomez.
They don't need a second
need a
for
second.
nomination. Any other nominations for the office of president at the moment? None. We need a motion to close the nominations for president
I so move.
and a second.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we close the nominations. Okay, Ms. Gomez, you go for the roll call.
Thank you. Roll call for the nomination of president for Janethia Hudley Hayes, Babcock,
Yes.
DeLugich,
Yes.
Hara,
Yes.
Woods Gray.
Yes.
Motion carries and nomination passes. And President Hudley Hayes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Now we'll go through the same process for Vice President. Is there a nomination for the office of Vice President?
I nominate Sharon DeLugich.
Any other nominations for the office of Vice President? Hearing none, we need a motion to close the nominations.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And roll call for the election of Vice President for Commissioner DeLugich. Voice roll call. Babcock,
Yes.
Hara,
Yes.
Hudley Hayes,
Yes.
and Woods Gray.
Yes.
Congratulations, Commissioner DeLugich for Vice President.
Very, very good. Congratulations. Commissioner Huntley Hayes, I pass the gavel to you.
Thank you. We are not going to be changing chairs.
Yes.
So we're not doing all of that stuff.
We just changed.
Jimmy's gonna stay where she is, I'm gonna stay where I am. And we're gonna move on, with the meeting. So let's move on to agenda item 4, which is report of the fire chief. Chief Crawley.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. I would be remiss if I didn't start here. So thank you to the both of you for your leadership, your dedication, and everything that you've done for the Los Angeles City Fire Department. We are so appreciative of what you've done. And on behalf of our 3,779 members, both sworn and civilian, we thank you very, very much. So thank you. Let's please give him our gratitude.
My pleasure to turn it over.
And with that, welcome to our new leadership. Look forward to working hand in hand with the new commission leadership. And it's a true honor to be your chief, and we'll continue to move forward and to evolve as an organization and be better for the community and for one another. So welcome, and looking forward to working with both of you as well. So I'll go ahead and move on. Just a few comments from me. I'll be reporting from June 20th to July 17th. With my meetings and events. On June 21st, I had the honor to be invited to a Women's Chiefs Council where we had the opportunity to meet with across the country with other women fire chiefs. And it's always the benefit to meet and discuss best practices, concerns, challenges, and most importantly, the solutions moving forward in the fire service. So again, I had the honor to represent the LAFD. On that same day, Councilwoman Eunices Hernandez, LA Civil Rights, as well as the Transgender Advisory Council, it was Pride Month, and they provided a luncheon, and I represented the LAFD there. It was well attended, and it was an honor again to represent the LAFD. On June 22nd, spent a number of hours over at Fire Station 12. Was invited to go there. It's always a wonderful time just to sit down with the membership as we do, and just listen and be quiet and have big ears and try to understand what the members are going through and hear it from the boots on the ground. We continue to make as many visits as possible to understand the perspectives and the challenges. And I tell you, our people are amazing each and every day. We see what they do. It's important that we hear what their issues are, and we come up together and come up with the solutions and continue with the collaboration. So it was an honor to visit Fire Station 12. On June 23rd, we had a meet and greet. This is the second time the mayor actually went to Fire Station 9. She wanted to return and actually do a ride-out. She spent a number of hours there, went on a lot of calls at Fire Station 9. Just a wonderful opportunity to meet with the membership there And I give her huge accolades for going back there and really listening to what the concerns are. A lot of support, obviously, from the mayor's office, and it was really incredible to see her connect with the membership and to fall back on her medical training. And she did a write-out on the fast response vehicle, like our UFLAC leadership was talking about as well. So we're going to continue to work very, very closely with the mayor's office as well as city council and push to add additional resources, and we need additional resources, and I think everybody's well aware of that. On June 24th, this was a really neat event. This is what our Pueblo del Rio CERT graduation ceremony. This was the first time our CERT training occurred where it was in all Spanish. And what they did is they went out and we trained over 50 CERT members, and it was the first time where we provided that training in Spanish. So it was an incredible event. Now we're just going to keep pushing that program forward for the right reasons and to ensure that we continue to work closely and collaborate with our community members, because we have to be resilient. We're going to keep building off of that. On June 29th, this is all prior to the July 4th big push with the fireworks or anti-fireworks campaign. We met with Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez at her anti-fireworks press conference. Again, got to have the opportunity to speak in the media about how important it is to lean forward on the anti-firework prevention side of things, and we're always going to lean forward and work very, very closely with our city leadership to reduce risk within the city. That was a busy day. The same day, we went to Captain Kwan's retirement luncheon. We have a lot of people who are retiring. We always try to pop into the different fire stations, either luncheons or breakfasts or whatever it may be, to celebrate our people as they are transitioning out into their new chapter of life. But that was really fun to be able to meet and greet his family and send him off with well wishes. Also attended our new Battalion Chief Tarango's promotional luncheon at Metro. Again, a wonderful opportunity as we continue to push forward and promote our individual members who are the future of our department. It was really wonderful to see him and send him off in his new endeavors out in the field as one of our newly promoted battalion chiefs. Also going to continue to push to collaborate and communicate with our rank and file. We had another chat with the chief. This one was a unique one where this was specific for the chief officers. I invited the Chief Officer Association president, that was Chief Zipperman. He was my guest, and we spent an hour walking through the state of the department as well as answering any concerns. We had a Q&A as well, and it's just a nice way to leverage technology to make sure that information is getting out there to all members. And I continue to do those monthly with our all-member general membership meetings as well. June 30th, that was our anti-firework campaign presser we had at Frank Hodgkins, and what a wonderful event. We had over 21 other agencies in the local region that were all standing side by side to make sure that the community heard our voices and heard our concerns, continue to push how dangerous fireworks were. We also work hand in hand with My Safe LA. They do a fantastic job. They're always here to support us. We're going to talk about that much more in detail during one of our presentations. And lastly, July 17th, that was just yesterday. I have a smile on my face. We have been really pushing forward to enhance our staffing. And this was our emergency hire paramedic graduation. This is the first that we've had since 2001 was the last time we did this, so we took a play out of our playbook. Again, working very closely with UFLAC leadership to figure out other ways that we can bring on staffing in a quick way that meet the qualifications. We know what our staffing issues are, and this is a great way to push forward with that. This is the first of a few more classes. We'll see where we're going to take it. We had 8 members, small pilot, and our game plan is to move forward with emergency hires as a temporary solution to help us with our staffing. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Did you go over, Chief Crowley, the medical emergencies?
That will be,
That's a
yep,
verbal
that'll be
report.
another, we'll have our other chief officers report on that.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's actually under 4 for you, but somebody else is going to make that
Do
report.
B and C, yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Well, that takes us down to number 5.
Oh, ma'am, you can go ahead and we can bring up
minute.
our,
Somebody will do B and somebody
and
will do
C.
C.
I'm sorry. We haven't done B yet.
yep.
We didn't have a bureau when you left. They have a bureau now, I believe.
Oh, we have somebody new, Tyler's not here.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Crawley. My name's Doug Zabilski. I'm a battalion chief assigned to our EMS Bureau, filling in today for Chief Dixon, who requested I provide recent examples of the strong value and contributions provided by our advanced practitioner units. These are considered mid-level providers. They're staffed with an LAFD paramedic who's partnered with either a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant, and they're able to provide field treatment at a higher level than what our paramedics are licensed to provide. A few examples of these recently include suture repair. This is a common practice of theirs. Just yesterday alone, we were able to repair 3 lacerations in the field without losing ambulances to hospital transports. The first was a 41-year-old female who required 8 sutures to repair an ankle laceration. There was a 24-year-old male who required 7 sutures to repair a laceration to his forearm, and a 32-year-old female who cut her finger cooking that was able to be repaired using a medical-grade glue. Another example occurred on June 22nd when a 12-year-old male twisted his leg playing basketball at a Boys and Girls Club and sustained a dislocated knee. One of our AP units responded. They were able to apply traction and manipulate the knee in such a way that it went back into the socket. By the time mother arrived, it was wrapped in an ACE bandage and an ice pack was applied. We offered transport to the emergency room for further x-ray, and she was satisfied handling that transport by herself, taking her child in her own vehicle. So again, the ambulance ride, we didn't lose an ambulance for a transport. We saved the patients the expense of the ambulance ride. And in the lacerations, we saved them just the entire weight of in the ER and followed by the ER bills as well. Other common procedures include medically clearing patients in custody for booking. So that's a time saver for both us and law enforcement. You know, losing the whole transport and waiting for the patient to be seen and cleared at the ER. Also clearing patients for alternative destination transports to either sober centers or psychiatric urgent cares are another common uses. And recently, 3 times in the past, we've used our advanced providers to provide the medical screenings for the immigrants who've been bused into Los Angeles. So they've been able to provide that screening without tying up other field resources. And that's the end of my report.
Commissioners, are there questions, comments, any concerns? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And ma'am, just to be clear that was 4C,
Yes,
and then we also have a 4B.
4B, right.
Oh, yeah, he did.
First of all, good morning,
Good morning.
commissioners, new commission president, welcome back. Good morning, as well as our vice president and fellow commissioners. Chief Crowley, good morning. My name is Richard Fields. I am the deputy chief in charge of Operations West Bureau, and I'll be reporting on a major emergency structure fire that occurred on July 13th, approximately 5 p.m. Approximately 126 firefighters covering 5 LAFD battalions, also assisted by Los Angeles County in our mutual aid platform, engaged in a firefight that lasted almost 2 hours. This major emergency fire initially started as a carport, a couple of vehicles inside of a carport, but quickly extended into 2 occupied apartment buildings. Those apartment buildings were 2 stories each. Again, as I mentioned, occupied. And so in our efforts to preserve life first and then conserve property, we were able to rescue one person who was immediately impinged upon by flame and smoke. who was not ambulatory. Our firefighters recognized the need and were able to rescue that woman and get her to a local hospital in fair condition. A total of 18 units were damaged in that fire. We had 22 people that were initially displaced, but with the concerted effort between LAFD, other city resources such as Parks and Recs, and Red Cross, we were able to house 9 of those adults as well as their pets, which accounted for 3 dogs and 1 cat. The recovery and resilience of that neighborhood is critical. We worked with the Fire Prevention Bureau and other neighborhood resources to make sure that the traffic flow, which was significantly impacted, as well as rehousing anyone who could be, was maintained. That's the end of my report. Any questions at all for me?
Question?
I was out of town, so I didn't hear about this. What neighborhood was this?
So this was in the Hollywood area. The address was 7754 Hollywood Boulevard, right about Orange.
Very dense in there.
Yeah, it is.
I'd just like to say thank you to your bureau and for the work that they did, because it was on television all that whole time. And it was a scary situation because people were calling me and saying, well, those firefighters need to get away. Do you see they're smoking? I mean, because I said, but they're trained to do what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Don't worry. But so thank your people, and you guys always do a great job over there putting out those fires.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that takes us through A, B, and C.
We have a couple more, ma'am.
Oh, we have one more.
2 more, ma'am.
2 more.
It's been a busy couple weeks in the city of Los Angeles.
Wow.
Good morning,
Good
and a warm welcome to you, Madam President. Pleasure to see you back. Madam Vice President and former President, thank you for all your work, and former Vice President as well. And Fire Chief Crowley, the rest of the commissioners and staff. My name is Philip Flegel. I'm the commander in charge of Operations Central Bureau. I'd like to share with you a major emergency structure fire that occurred on June 22nd at approximately 3:15 in the afternoon. LAFD resources responded to a reported structure fire within the 700 block of South San Pedro Street, located in Fire Station 9's first in Council District 14. First arriving resources were on scene in 7 seconds. And I'll clarify that a little bit. The battalion chief that was responding saw the smoke and started going that way and filled out the assignment, so he was on scene relatively in short order. Within those 7 seconds, he reported a large outside rubbish fire that extended into the Charlie side, and we call that's our directional things that we use in the fire department. That's the back side of an apartment building, and the apartment building was a mid-block 2-story apartment building over a commercial building that was being exposed by fire. Resources deployed in the offensive mode and employed an aggressive fire attack in coordination with vertical ventilation and extinguishment of apartment units on the second floor units and also the attic space. Due to the large volume of fire, additional companies were assigned exposure protection, search, civilian and first responder, medical, evacuation, and salvage operations. Due to the fire size, scope, and complexity, this fire rapidly grew to a major emergency structure fire. Command was transferred from initial incident commander, Battalion Chief Nicholas Ferrari, to Assistant Chief Steve Hissong. It took 148 LAFD firefighters and paramedics an hour and 35 minutes to fully extinguish the blaze. There were 2 minor civilian injuries. Both people were evaluated by LAFD paramedics for minor smoke inhalation, but declined transport, and there were no LAFD firefighter injuries. The incident commander also, with assistance from Council Member De Leon and American Red Cross, coordinated the temporary shelter of 30 people that were displaced and sheltered them overnight. The fire's cause is still under investigation with the LAFD Arson Counterterrorism Section, and that's the end of my report. Are there any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chief Deputy John Drake, Emergency Services, and I would echo the same things. Welcome back, President Hudley Hayes. It is good to see you again, and thank you, former President Jimmy Woods Gray, for what you've done for 10 years and 2 years as our president, and all of our commissioners. And welcome to our new Vice President also, Commissioner De La Goutte. I'm not going to leave out the City Attorney, Carlos De La Guerra, in this introduction too, and Chief Crowley. What I'd like to do is just talk briefly about an incident that has occurred out in the Moreno Valley area and try to give you a broad perspective of what our partnership and obligations are with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, oftentimes called Cal OES, so California Office of Emergency Services. The LAFD is one of the partners in a Region 1, and there are 6 regions throughout the state that are broken up into fire service agencies. We have a partnership throughout Region 1 to support other agencies when there are conflagrations or fires, or they need resources that are typically beyond the capacity of that agency, whether it's Ventura County, LA County, or even other areas. We also have federal, state, and local teams. So we get requests through our IROC system where the federal government may request resources all the way back east, and we have FEMA teams for that. As you all know, we are and have been in a staffing crisis for several years. We are coming out of this crisis as we have 5 recruit classes in the previous fiscal year and this fiscal year. So things are looking better. And I will say, as the Emergency Operations Commander, one of my challenges is how we participate in this partnership. Because when our staffing crisis challenges us so difficultly, when we are going on over 1,500 calls a day, 1,000 patients we see per day, and 609 transports by 2022 numbers, it's something that I always have to, and Chief Crowley and our command staff as a team, we evaluate how we can participate in this partnership. So it has been since 2021, when we previously deployed what we call a strike team. A strike team is composed of 5 engines. The ones you see out in the streets are called Type 1 strike teams. We usually send 22 people in that configuration so that they have a command element and a staff assistant with 20 personnel staffing 5 engines. Well, in the Moreno Valley area at the Rabbit Fire, which is now at 8,283 acres, we received a request from Cal OES and our regional partners to send resources out there. We have been very conservative in sending them, and that's why I mentioned it's been since 2021 that we dispatched a strike team out of the city of Los Angeles. This was something that I felt was an exigent circumstance where we wanted to be the best partner we can while also factoring in the challenges we have, because we were looking at our weather and the Santa Ana winds, and the conditions were more conducive to it, believe it or not, even though they were having significant heat right now, to assist a partner. One of the variables that I always factor into this, are they close? The reason I brought up the federal teams, we typically won't dispatch them all the way to the East Coast in these staffing crises that we have, because they could be gone for a month and we need them back. And I have an agreement with our partners in the counties and adjacent areas where we say, if we need them back, I need them to be on a short leash so that we can do that. So we have those partnerships with Cal OES and Ventura County and LA County. So to make a short story longer, the reason we decided to do that is the request said that there were structures threatened. And in the Moreno Valley area at the Rabbit Fire, that really resonates with me. And thinking, how do we balance the services to the city of Los Angeles and our partnership that we have through the region? Because we must remember there may be times where we request their assistance out here too. So it is an obligation and a partnership that Chief Crowley and I and our staff look at very seriously. And they are on a short leash right now, and I'm probably going to be bringing that back before this weekend, simply because of the staffing numbers that we have. Again, we don't like closing 15 or 20 engines a day or 8 to 10 ambulances as our call load continually increases. So I just wanted to say that since 2021, this is the first strike team that we have sent out of the city. Now, this is a Type 3 strike team. These are different fire engines than you typically see. They're for wildland type fires, and they're typed by the National Fire Protection Association. The ones you typically see out in the streets of LA are called Type 1s. Our Type 3s are for the wildland, and they look significantly different. And in the next meeting, I can share a picture with you, or we can leave a picture of what those look like. We do have 6 of those in the city, and one at Fire Station 35, 87, 88, 89, 98, and those are they are a partnership we have with Cal OES that assigns those 5 apparatus to our department. we have an obligation or a partnership to staff those. We also have one additional at Fire Station 82, in addition to our electric fire engine, a Type 3 fire engine there that is owned by our department. And that one is red. The other ones are green. So there is a difference for the wildland configuration and their ability to pump at these fires and how they can work off-road. So again, we decided to send this strike team out. They will probably be there for less than a week. And that is a brief history on that. But keep in mind that Chief Crowley and our staff, we always factor in the 470 square miles comprising the city of Los Angeles first and foremost, because no agency is required to deplete their resources beyond what would be acceptable for our terms. And it is a challenge and a balancing act. They will be back shortly, but I just wanted to report on that incident out in the Rabbit Fire.
Thank you. Are there questions, comments? Chief Drake, you have more?
I have nothing else now,
Okay,
unless there are any questions.
none?
This time.
Thank you.
Wait,
Wait, well, just for all of this, for this item, I'm just curious about July 4th. And I didn't hear anybody talk about any, like, injuries or fires or hospitalizations. I mean, I don't know about where you all live, but in my neighborhood, it's a war zone about 2 weeks before and continuing right now. And I appreciate all the public awareness campaigns, but I really feel like more needs to be done. As a couple of the guys at Fire Station 12 said, well, we've got the banners up, and they were being sarcastic. I just wonder if there's like a plan to, like, we got to do more to have there be fewer. I mean, it just seems like such a horrible, dangerous, horrendous.
Yes, ma'am. And in fact, we actually deploy additional resources on what we call when the BI is high or when the conditions are severe. We hire individuals back. For example, we staff more at air operations. There are times when we'll staff some of our Type 3 apparatus or specialized resources when we're looking at, we are brush patrols, and we use CERT in a partnership with our CERT program. So we do pre-deploy to adjust to the needs with regularity. In fact, we have comprehensive meetings before those to really factor in all the variables when we do that. But I would like to say we have somebody here to report on July 4th in the fireworks campaign, and that'll be Chief Nelson.
That's happening today. We'll report on that.
Sorry. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
can I ask a question
Yes, ma'am.
so I can remember? It seems to me like I remember that one of the things that the fire department did very well when I was on the commission before was there was a number you could call, and a fire team came, Chief Drake, you know, if you had a lot of fireworks going on in your neighborhood. My recollection is there was a number you could call, and it may be not in place now because, you know, of the staffing issues. But I know that in my neighborhood, we had a horrible problem with fireworks going off. I don't remember the number at this point, and I don't think it had anything to do with there being a fire commissioner that lived in that community. It was just a number you could call. But within 5-10 minutes, fire personnel were in the neighborhood, stopped the fireworks. I don't know whether they collected them or not, but we didn't have any more trouble on that day. They, you know, they did go off subsequently, but is that still something that can happen?
Yes, ma'am, and we do have public safety partners, specifically the LAPD in the city of Los Angeles, and there are hotlines and there are numbers that they can call, but I will allow Chief Nelson to elaborate further on the
Okay.
fireworks day, that, all those things, but we definitely participate as partners.
Okay, so it's B, it's this.
It's on item
4B is what we are
item
talking,
7,
yes, ma'am.
4B. Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. I asked the wrong
Any other
person.
questions?
But you always know everything.
I don't. I don't. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Okay, now, I just got a note from President Jimmy Woods Gray that we have no presentations this morning.
No
Is that correct?
presentations.
No presentations? Okay, so let's move on to the consent agenda items, and let's go with 6A, which is a report by the department on the status of LAFD projects,
Madam President,
which we have here. So it looks like it's just, to me, it appears to be just a status report.
Madam President, can we move the whole consent agenda unless someone has something to pull?
I do just have a question on item 6C.
6B.
B.
Okay,
C is in
C.
cat, I'm sorry.
okay.
6C. Oh.
So you have a question on C. Are there any questions on A and B? I have no questions on A and B.
No,
What about D, the consent item D?
no. I don't have any questions.
No? Okay. So let's move A, B, D all together.
Okay.
So,
Motion to approve items 6A, B, and D.
Second.
okay,
I second.
those, oh, there's a second. Okay, so those items are approved. And let's
You
go
need
to,
Madam President.
did I
you-
get a second?
I
Yes.
second.
I thought you
And
seconded.
then all in favor?
you need to
All in
vote.
favor?
You have to have
Aye.
a vote.
I thought everybody said aye. Oh, I
We were
was,
nodding.
I
We were
was, I
nodding.
was making up that the nods were
Yeah.
ayes. Okay.
We were saying yes.
All right,
but no.
sorry. So now we'll move to C, because,
You have to record the vote. Is it
Oh, we do individual? I thought
by
we-
vote? No,
Yeah.
not a roll call, just a, you get a majority vote.
So in other words, he just wants you to call for the vote. All those in favor say
all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All opposed?
Okay,
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
very good. Okay.
Yes, so just on item 6C, a couple quick questions, because I know that this is a third amendment, so we're going to be approving a contract that's been in place. Just a couple questions. It sounds like, when we're moving to have somebody get a third, it looks like an agreement to go forward, and they've been doing their job well. I just do want to make clear for the record, when we approve these contracts, this is opportunities for local opportunity for people to come in and be able to get these types of contracts. This one in particular is under the Oregon Public Procurement Authority, which I know throughout the city, different departments follow different procurement authorities, whether it's Oregon or even Tennessee or different states. It sounds like, and it looks like this particular contractor is located in the state of Illinois, and that the fees are funded by, collected by the contractor from a third-party testers. So a couple questions. One, what kind of fees are they collecting? I don't see any type of dollar amounts there. And two, as we look forward to, I know this particular mayor and the city in general would always like opportunities for local contractors to come in and have, and I think this is Reg 4 testing. Maybe there aren't any in the city of Los Angeles or county of LA. But again, these are just opportunities to have when these come up. And it sounds like this person and this contractor is doing a good job. But let's just be mindful of when these types of opportunities do come up. It's existing. And when we're looking out of state and using these big procurement authorities, it usually means that if you're local, you don't even know that those exist. So just something to put here out for the record. But would like to know what the fees are that get collected by this contractor.
Great question, ma'am. It's $12 per test is paid directly to Brycer by the tester,
Okay.
which is actually lower than the industry standard. All of those Reg 4 testers that work within the city of Los Angeles also work in other cities throughout the state, and they also use this same vendor to pay to track all of their systems that they test.
Right, okay. So $12 per test, and how many times per year are we testing? Is it, or I see the 77?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay. It's pretty.
Yeah, we have found and identified and also adopted more systems, approximately 37,350 since time of inception with Brycer.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And if I could, I'll answer quickly your comment about where they're located. They are in the city of Chicago, or the
Right.
state of Chicago, Chicago, Illinois. And they are actually working with our local vendor, 3DI, to integrate their reporting to our contracted local programmer. So we are working to collaborate to bring all of those systems onto our new FIMS 2.0.
Got it.
And also in the future, you'll be hearing back from me on the Reg 4 restructure that I previously had presented on moving forward with an ordinance for cost recovery on that.
Excellent. Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So when the contract was let, though, just so the commission understands, it was an open process, correct?
I'm not sure. I think it was a sole proprietor or a sole vendor at the time.
It was a sole
Yeah,
source
sole source.
contract.
Yes, ma'am.
That meant that there was something unique.
About it.
something
They were the only ones doing
skill
that.
That they had.
That's correct.
Which is how they got the contract.
Correct.
So this is the third amendment.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there another amendment that we need to be aware of?
We can max out to 5. That's what's in the current contract,
Mm-hmm.
which would take us to approximately 2032.
Yeah, and no, and I mean, because I've seen this with some of the other departments, I mean, when you use this, in this particular case, this is the Oregon Public Procurement Authority. If you're, let's just say, as an example, right, if you're a local Reg 4 tester here in the city of Los Angeles, you never would have known about this opportunity because it's already going out and it's already being done nationwide, right? So if you in the past 10 years maybe started a Reg 4 company or whatever it was, you would have never even known about this opportunity and it wouldn't have been opened up because it already went to this person, this particular contractor has the edge in the entire state of California. Good for them, great for them. Sounds like they're doing well and they're excellent for us and no knock on them.
Okay.
Just an opportunity for a local contractor to then come in. It wasn't ever, and this is just one example. I'm just using this because I see it here. But I know that there's multiple procurement authorities out there
Right.
that oftentimes local contractors never even get to see because they don't know about how to get in.
Right. But in this particular instance, the sole source was because of specific skill set and knowledge.
Correct.
Yep.
And they're basically a database. They just collect all the reporting from the Reg 4 testers.
Okay. Are you good?
And it sounds like we're gonna, like you mentioned, which we didn't know, and I thank you for clarifying that you're gonna bring it into 3DI, you said?
Yeah, it's already done. And 3DI is who we,
And
on
they're
our
based here
RFP
in
for our new,
Los Angeles.
I'm sorry?
And they're based here in Los
Correct, ma'am.
Angeles? Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, you
comfortable.
good?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There weren't any more questions, were there?
No.
No. Okay, so we're going to move on to the regular agenda items.
We need to
Oh,
vote.
motion to,
With the-
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go
Motion
ahead and
to-
make a-
Motion to accept all of item C, actually.
yeah, motion to accept item
Except
6C.
6C.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in
I second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. Did somebody else say all those things? Okay, sorry. Okay, so now we're going to move to item 7, which is our regular agenda items. This is the report by the independent assessor on LAFD's response to the independent assessor's annual review. Commissioners, what I'd like to ask is I'd like to know if we can postpone this report until the independent assessor just for everybody who's in the room to understand, is out on medical leave. He's had surgery. And I think it would be better if we could hear the report while he was here, because there may be some nuances, or there may be questions that we have that I think he should be able to answer. So can we table this and put this for maybe the next commission meeting, or let's find out when he's going to be able to come back
Oh,
in
yes.
person?
Uh-huh.
Is that
Do we
gonna
need
be
a motion?
okay?
Do we need a motion?
You can
Do I
do it
need
informally.
Carlo,
You
can
don't
we
need
do
a
that?
motion, but if you want a motion, you can go ahead and do it by motion.
I don't know that we
don't-
need to
we don't need
formalize it at all, if
No.
we don't have to.
No.
Okay, let's just make
Okay.
sure that what we do is, we put it back on the agenda, but not until
He's back.
he's back.
Right.
So that he can make the report, we can ask the questions. We'll also have an opportunity to ask questions before the meeting, so that he
Right.
gives a fuller report.
So this item will be continued.
Yes, it will be continued.
Continue.
And we're not sure that it'll be the next commission meeting, because we're not really sure about his recovery. But it will be continued to a meeting when he's able to be present. Okay?
And Madam President, that also allows the new commissioners to read the previous report that he's reporting on. So
Yeah.
Letitia can probably,
good point.
Ms. Gomez can probably get that information
That's a
for you.
good point,
Yes,
Jimmy.
please.
Yeah, please, thank you. So that brings us to item B, which we were talking about, the verbal report on the anti-fireworks campaign. Who's doing that? Oh.
Chief Nelson.
Good morning, Madam President, Fire Commissioners, Fire Chief Crowley, City Attorney Carlos. My name is Robert Nelson. I'm an Assistant Chief assigned to the Homeland Security Division. This is mostly for some of the commissioners. Back in 2017, our program was actually a field program. The anti-fireworks program was actually a field battalion chief responsibility. I noticed a large increase in fireworks back around that time frame. You probably all remembered it started getting really crazy out there. I have an outstanding partnership and relationship with Dave Barrett, who's in the room today, with MySafe LA. We started getting our heads together at lunch, and we decided that we wanted to take over the anti-fireworks program. I went to Emergency Operations Commander and asked that it be transferred to the Homeland Security Division because we wanted to coordinate all the city efforts that were going on. There was a lot of people doing good work, but it wasn't coordinated into one central location. So in 2017, with the help of MySafe LA, we established a working group, and we were able to make that happen. Inside the city of the Los Angeles City Fire Department, fireworks touches the fire communications, the CLO's office, the PSOs, the fire prevention office, CERT, arson, Homeland Security, emergency operations, and JHAT. And 4 of those elements fall underneath my command, so I thought it was appropriate to be under the Homeland Security Division. The objectives, our objectives were to have a common message and a theme to reduce firework use in the city of Los Angeles, to have a common single message that's ubiquitous across all the city agencies, and to educate the public. We wanted to coordinate the fireworks efforts with all of our city partners, and our city partners include MySafe LA, the Police Department, EMD, Rec and Parks, the LA Unified School District, LA County Fire, the City Attorney's Office, and the Sheriff's Office. MySafe LA was able to be a holistic, one-stop shop where all the city agencies could go to and collaborate internally. And he has developed an online web-based platform called Basecamp, and it really allows all the city agencies to go and collaborate and coordinate on one platform, because all of us are very prideful of our own internal fire department and police department and park. Everybody has their own website, but MySafe LA was actually put one together that everybody could come to and really share information very collaboratively. Worked out really well. We wanted to make sure we had common messaging on all the fireworks safety issues. We wanted to make sure that public show information was shared in the region, not just within the city, but within the region. And so we collect all that data from the Fire Prevention Bureau from our department, but also from LA County. And we put that on our respective websites and on MySafe LA. We look for opportunities to engage the public and inform the public. And this is where MySafe LA comes in, because they're out there in the school system way before schools get out, because they're actually out of school around the 4th of July. So they're actually educating the kids prior to the 4th of July about fireworks safety and issues. I don't have the total numbers. Dave's here if you want to speak to him, but they educate in excess of thousands of kids at multiple schools, I would say all throughout the Los Angeles area. We track firework use, and responses both from the city, from the LAPD, and from the fire department, but we also get this information from the county as well, and Dave Barrett will actually put together an after-action report that encompasses all the city agencies into a holistic report that he'll have that sometime around September, where we can report on all the stats from all the different agencies and what they responded to. We coordinate a press briefing with the CLO's office and the PSOs, but also in collaboration with Dave Barrett and his group, because they put together, they were able to film and do a lot of filming that from his perspective and get that information out, and we share that with the news radio stations and the television shows, and it gets out there in various formats. And then we also work to find a place where we can have people that can return in or surrender their fireworks. And we do that in a number of ways. You asked a question earlier about phone numbers. LAPD has a number that you can surrender fireworks to, and it's 877-ASK-LAPD, and that's where they can call up, get some guidance on fireworks and how they dispose of them, and where they can drop those things off. The fire department has an 888-654-FIRE phone number, and that really is about public shows, where they can be located, where they're at, and just general information that goes live around a week or so before the fireworks shows, and it probably ends about a week or so afterwards. LAPD also has an online complaint form for reporting of use, and you can log on to their website, and it has a complaint form. They can they can put information in there about where firework use is happening, and then obviously 911 for injuries and fires. When we look at overview, our challenge that we have is that the state, there are 297 jurisdictions that sell safe and sane fireworks. In the county, LA County, there are 42 jurisdictions, many of them surrounding LA City, which presents a challenge for us. They began using fireworks legally in the safe and sane variety around June 28th, and that lasts all the way through July 5th. This is really a year-long problem. It's heightened in January, around January 1st, or January 31st or December 31st, but also obviously July is a big time. So we meet, our working group of all those city agencies I talked about, meet periodically throughout the year, but we really ramp up our meetings really close to July, starting around April, and then we start to get everybody on board with common messaging, where our shows are going to be at, where our public message is going to be at, and then we look to the different components that need to be out there as far as banners and posters and flyers. My Safe LA is instrumental in providing our materials. At his own cost, he produces and provides that material for us, which is absolutely phenomenal. He also does a lot of the outreach to the schools at summer camps and with Parks and Recs, and they collaborate on when those locations are, and he has the staff and team that go out there and hit all these locations on this specific issue. We're not going to enforce our way out of this. This is coming from LAPD. We're going to educate our way out of it, and it's a cultural thing, and we're working slowly to bring that awareness out there through all the things that we're doing. Hopefully we'll get it reduced. It doesn't seem like it if you just watch what's going on out there, but the statistics will show that I think our work is actually happening. We're able to have all those statistics available to you. We don't have them at the moment because we're still collecting that data. Logistically, there's an online website that, like MySafeLA puts out there, but we have 55 first responders from the mayor's office in different areas that participate in that forum. But we also have 167 different political leaders from all different from the different council districts and neighborhood councils that will log on there and get information on MySafeLA and on what we're doing with respect to the shows and how we can get information and banners out there. Dave Barrett provides the police department, Parks and Recs, and the fire department with banners and posters. He has produced over 40,000 flyers. He's provided LAPD with this year alone, 12,000 flyers to LAPD, 6,500 to the fire department, 1,000 to the city attorney's office, and 5,000 to various local offices. He's also produced 12,000 flyers and posters for the schools, Parks and Recs, and summer camps, and he's also delivered to all the Starbucks bulletin boards, 128 locations in the city where you can get information on fireworks. Our challenge is that this year, they actually, because of the Water Quality Control Board, they've actually reduced a lot of the fireworks that happen on the beach city areas. So that they had them already planned and scheduled and permitted, but then because of air quality and probably some pollution issues, they actually canceled those shows. It kind of presents a little bit of a challenge for us. Enforcement-wise, in the state, they have made multiple arrests and hundreds of thousands of pounds of material have been confiscated in this year. LAPD has made significant arrests in LA, and they confiscated in one location in Los Angeles, he's confiscated 38,000 pounds and made 2 felony arrests for fireworks. That was a big deal. You probably caught that on the news. LAPD also responds to thousands of fireworks calls, and I'll talk about ours here in a minute. They utilize their website, their 311 app, and then their online reporting for information about activity in your neighborhood. The city attorney's office mailed out 3,000 letters to past offenders. Thank you, Carlos, for your support there. The city attorney's office does come to our meetings, and they provide their perspective, their insight, and what they're doing on the enforcement end. And I don't have the specific details of what the city attorney's office do, but they're very instrumental in our program. LAFD responded to 47 fireworks-related calls in the week around 4th of July. On the 4th of July, we only responded to 18 calls. We had 11 rubbish fires, 3 injuries, 0 structure fires, 2 auto fires, and 2 tree fires. that is pretty common with what the fire department responds to. We're always in the teens on the 4th of July, around there, all single digits or double digits. And then we always capture that data about a week before to a week after, because the fireworks start a little bit before that and kind of run, depending on what day the 4th of July runs, it could run a couple of days afterwards. So we capture that data, and we're really consistent on our call load. And we don't have the LAPD's numbers at the moment, but we will be able to have that information in a report that will be coming in a couple of months. This is now after the 4th of July. We will meet with our working group again and find out how everything that they did, what worked, what didn't work, how we can make improvements. And I want to reiterate that without My Safe LA and Dave Barrett's help and support, because he helps coordinate all these different disparate agencies, both internally and externally into the city, that he's been super instrumental in our success in this campaign. And I just want to thank Dave Barrett and his team for all the work that they do and all the coordination. So that's the end of the report unless you have questions.
I only have one question. When you do the feedback in your working group after the 4th of July, and you talk about successes, you talk about things that could be better, you talk about gaps, all of that sort of stuff, where does that report go? Does it go to Chief Crowley so that she has an opportunity to look at it and weigh in on whether or not she has some suggestions about how things could be done differently or policies that need to be changed? What happens with that once your working group is finished? It's kind of look back at what you did. What happens?
The fire department per se does not develop a report because the information we have is I would say limited, because we don't have that many runs. Let's say 18. But what we rely on is My Safe LA does an after-action report, which is super comprehensive. It's probably 30 or 40 pages long, and it covers the whole gamut, including assembly bills that are coming down, the confiscations that had happened, because he's looking at it holistically. I would look at it specifically from the fire department because I don't have the context that he has. He produces a report that's available every year that we provide to the fire department that says, here's what our campaign looked like, here's our successes, here's our challenges, here's the school outreach program. And it's really a comprehensive report. It's actually phenomenal. It would be difficult for the fire department to produce what he's producing because ours would be linear, just the fire department. He's looking at the whole entire picture, so I can't think in a minute.
To do another report. I'm
Yes.
asking whether that you're talking about, this whole holistic thing, gets to
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Chief Crowley. I know she doesn't want to have to read another 40-page anything, but because the fire department is a part of that, she does need to understand what the part is that the fire department brings to the table.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
she gets it.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
all I'm asking. I don't want you to do another report, and Lord knows we don't want to read another 40-page report, but I was wanting to make sure that.
And with that, ma'am, yes, so we work very, very closely with My Safe LA. We look at the recommendations, and as we know, each year, we have to come up with different strategies.
Right.
And the position that we're taking from this point forward is obviously looking at metrics that actually matter and then creating strategies and plans around that.
Okay.
So that's our path forward. We'll continue to push and figure out better ways, innovative ways, better ways to communicate, and it's all about reducing risk to the community. So there's an education piece, but there's also a lot of strategies and tactics that we have to continually mold and evolve to figure out a better way to do it.
Okay.
Yes, and thank you, Chief Crowley. One thing that Dave Barrett has done is he's got an online survey where he cues information from the public, and we can figure out the hot spots based on that information, where they believe, based on what the public's telling us, where they believe the hot spots are. And then he shares that information with LAPD, so they actually target with their senior lead officers, go out and target those specific areas based on information he gathers. So, and our data is very similar for each bureau, so we don't have a hotspot per se based on just our run load. If you look at LAPD, they may have different data that suggests otherwise, but our data, it's kind of the same. The numbers are about the same for every bureau as far as firework activity and responses on the fire side.
Okay, thank you.
So, Madam
Are there any other
President,
questions? Jimmy?
I just wanted to know that when you collect data, are you collecting it strategically from every neighborhood in the city? Or how do you get these online surveys? To who do they go to?
The online surveys will go through two places. One is LAPD has a complaint online tracking system where they collect their data, and then My Safe LA has a survey that they send out to the public, and they're able to log onto his website and fill out information about fireworks activities. And so that's where the two places that we collect it from. The fire department, we look at just response data.
So do they strategically look for people to send it to? Or are they just
Yes.
voluntary? Someone who just signs on, sees a survey and says, oh, I'll do it?
That's, a lot of it's voluntary, but based on the data that we collect, LAPD will go target those neighborhoods where we believe that the activity is the greatest. And then they target that area through messaging, their slows and neighborhood council meetings, and try to get the word out there to go to public shows and to reduce their use. And if they're a habitual offender, the city attorney's office, that's where they get involved in, and they send out letters to each one of these locations where they've used fireworks in the past and have been spoken to or contacted through LAPD.
Because it seems like it's getting worse in my neighborhood every year. And we don't know, people don't know who to contact to say, and when they can't call 911, because there's never an answer on the night of fireworks there. I hope no one has a heart attack that night. But the one thing that they do, at 11:30, between 11:30 and 12, they start to stop. That seems to be a strategic thing. I don't know what it is, but we appreciate that. So it's an issue that we need to continue to work on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chief Nelson.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Commissioner DeLucia.
Yes, thank you. I know this is a losing battle, but I'm willing to fight it. I know about the online complaint form. I just don't think this is how regular people know what to do in the lead up, the night of, and the aftermath. It's definitely not the week of before and the day after. It's weeks before and at least a couple weeks after. So I guess a couple of specific questions. Are neighborhood councils involved in this working group? Because they're like good, eyes on the, feet on the ground and eyes in the neighborhood.
They're in and out based on their availability. They're invited. Sometimes it's virtual, sometimes it's in person. We try to do in person, at least one or two in person ones, so we get face recognition. But virtual just allows more people to show up because you can't just get everybody at the same place at the same time. Neighborhood council personnel have been involved. Monica Rodriguez's office has certainly been a big player in this arena. So she's definitely involved. Do all of them participate? I couldn't tell you specifically, but they are involved at various stages throughout the year because we do meet numerous times.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you. And it seems like there should be like a hotline. Again, nobody wants to clog 911, but there should be like a dedicated phone number like the month of June or before that people can call. Fire stations are in every neighborhood, and people who set off fireworks are in every neighborhood. It just seems like if somebody knew to call, there's these, knuckleheads on wherever they are, can anybody go and talk to them? Maybe people like firefighters. Can they go talk to them and find out what they're doing and explain what it does to something like this, more like just kids in schools that are maybe paying? Of course, that's a good thing too, but can they, I don't know, I'm just suggesting. I think we need to, I would be happy to help if I can. Think of some of these tactics. I'm a huge complainer, and I didn't know where to complain about this.
Well,
There's a problem.
you bring up, it's a difficult problem. That's why we have LAPD and the sheriffs in there, because they're really that part of that piece. But so it's certainly, these are great ideas. And I know that, there's some things that we are trying. Like I said, that going out to the schools is a big issue. What we found through Dave Barrett's group is that when they go out and speak to the kids, majority of the kids say they don't want to use fireworks, but their parents have either already purchased them or it's their parents pushing the issue, not so much the kids. And so that's what the information that we've been able to glean from the school system is, because they go in there, they show PowerPoints, they show the injuries, they explain the hazards. And My Safe LA has really done a great job in obtaining that information, saying, look, it's not really the kids per speak, it's their parents. And so that becomes the issue, is how do we educate the parents? And we're trying to work our way through that.
Or it's like the late teens, 20-somethings that are neither parents nor students.
That's a very good point, because that's that big issue too. So,
Can I be on your working group?
oh, absolutely. No, absolutely, because all the more folks that we can get out there, this working group helps us get the message out there and brainstorm ideas of what we're going to do each year.
Right, it just seems like
So-
there's a lot of.
So we'll have a meeting here in a couple of weeks. We're waiting for the kind of statistical dust to settle, so to speak, collect the data from the different agencies, have our meeting, allow Dave Barrett to collect the data. And I think when you come to the meeting, you start to listen to all the different agencies and what they're bringing to the table and what they're doing, and some of their challenges they're having, you will see there's a lot of effort being made. We're just trying to get out there and do it. And the law enforcement says they just can't police their way through this. It's just probably not the right method at this time.
Okay, can you just make sure that Commissioner DeLucia gets noticed when the meetings are?
Absolutely.
So that she can come.
Oh,
when
it'd
she
be a
can.
pleasure having anybody on the fire commission involved in our process.
Has there been thought of a dedicated, like a 511, some sort of dedicated, easy number, not all these, 800 fireworks, watch out numbers? I mean, I know it's a city thing, we should talk to the mayor's office perhaps, but like, those of us who are, under our beds cowering are not gonna we don't want to find out where the public shows are. We want to find out how to make it stop.
And those are the strategies that we're talking about. Like, even from your feedback today, there's some adjustments. So it's constant adjustments. The good news is, in the past, we're absolutely doing a better job coordinating with all the other agencies that have a stake in what is happening within the city. Now it's a matter of adjusting, like I talked about, our strategies to reduce the risk. So that's that ongoing process. So we'll circle back and we'll report back as to what our game plan is, and even lean forward on it even further prior to, and I should say, and after. Because now we can track the metrics, but more importantly is how do we identify where those gaps are, from the communication side to the public campaign, from My Safe LA saying it's not really the kids. Well, then we have to make an adjustment. How do we get to the individuals that are buying the fireworks, bringing them into the city where it is illegal, and then everybody has a stake in regard to what their role is to reduce risk within the city.
Thank you.
Madam President, one of the things I would like to comment on is the My Safe LA. My Safe LA does an outstanding job of going into the schools, and I've watched their programs over and over in different sections of the city, and they really do a great job of educating the kids on what they need to do to stay safe, not only with the fireworks, but in many other areas. And what Chief Nelson said, I've heard them say that. Oh, it's not us, it's our parents. But we need to continue to do that, and I just want to provide accolades for Myself LA because they do an outstanding job. And I think they're on they're going to be invited to come to our commission meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
The chief.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were having a whole other thing. Carlos, can I ask a question? From your perspective, we don't want to do something and then discover that it's not legal. It is okay for a commissioner to attend a meeting and to be able to listen and hear and possibly give some input.
Oh, sure.
Yes, that's
Okay.
allowed. One commissioner can do that, absolutely.
Right. Well,
long as it's
the
not
Brown
free.
Act and all of that kind of stuff and whether we're overstepping. So I just want to make sure that it's
Thank you.
legally.
Yeah, not 3, but 2.
Fireworks.
Yeah. Well, 2 of you could go.
No, I don't want to go. I was just
3
saying.
can't go, but
But
2 of
3
you,
can.
I mean, if somebody else wanted to go, they could.
Will it, Commissioner DeLuca?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then the 2 of you get to go and be the
Sure.
fireworks people. Okay, anti-fireworks people, yeah.
That's a
Okay.
good thing.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Carlos, for your, any other questions?
No.
Okay,
That's it.
Thank you.
thank you very much. It's really quite a comprehensive report. So that brings us actually to the end of our meeting. Before we do adjournments, I have a comment that I want to make, but I want Commissioner DeLucia. DeLucic. I always make it wrong. DeLucic.
I'm going to teach you all.
DeLucic. Okay, Commissioner DeLucic.
Or Sharon, but I know you won't say that.
Shoot, I'm not going to say that.
Can't say that.
She should have possibly made these comments in the comments section. She didn't, and I want to have her have an opportunity to make the comments now. And then I want to make some
Okay,
comments.
thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to ask where we are. About a month ago, I asked for, I raised quite a few questions about the complaint investigation process, and I've sort of categorized some of the questions to maybe a little bit easier, but I wanted to And I don't know if it is helpful to read this, Ms. Gomez, into the record, or if I should give this to somebody, but I've got questions about procedures, assumptions/criteria, training, and dispositions. And then I'd also asked for monthly reports, and I just want to find out when we can expect some of these answers to come back. I don't want to have an individual meeting with somebody about it. I want them to report to the commission. And I'd ask for monthly reports, that's the total number of complaints, what are the disposition, what are the findings, how are we tracking them, and then some analysis of what to do about those complaints. So I just wanted to, I didn't want this to like sort of just, I know it's probably not really disappeared, but I want to know kind of what the timeline is. Should we expect reports in different chunks? What's the best method and timeline for this? Thank you.
Carlos?
So the chief would be able to respond and give you a timeline, but any substantive information would have to come back in a formal report because it's not on the agenda.
Right.
That's what I want.
What I wanted to do was I wanted the commissioner just to be able to read into the record that she has these concerns, Carlos, and what I'm asking is that we maybe meet with you, Chief Crowley, and maybe the executive, some of your executive team, go through the questions and figure out how to package them so that they come back in maybe 2 or 3 reports that are linked, that would allow us to have a foundation to build on, and that we then would agendize those at subsequent meetings. There are a lot of questions, but they are linked in some ways, and the first report should be a foundation report, which I think should be more of an overview, and then we should get reports back that are much more specific, if that's.
So the questions would be part of the ask for the department.
Correct.
And then the department can certainly work with less than a majority of the folks here as to what that looks like coming back, and then it would come back as a formal report, would be on the agenda for a
Right.
presentation.
That's what I'd like to have happen, Carlos. I'd like for it to happen that way.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Crowley?
Yep, so we can set up that initial meeting with 2 commissioners, is my understanding, and we will solidify exactly what you're looking for. Then you can direct us to report back in a formalized Board of Commission report, and then we'll start from there.
Okay.
Thank you. I just want to assure, but I'm not asking for names of complainants or subjects of complaints, but I will probably be looking for rank and job duties. But thank you very much. That sounds like a great plan going forward. Thank you, President Headley Hayes.
Now, I was not part of the commission, but I was at the last commission meeting. Someone gave a verbal report, and you asked for a document to be produced. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Has that happened? Do we know what that is?
It hasn't come to us yet. And I don't know
No,
what
that was just last meeting, so it wouldn't have come that quickly.
Right. I was asking questions based on a report that we had, that we
Eddie would
did
have to
hear.
tell us what we
I believe the chief,
requested.
I don't know her rank.
I just want to
Yeah.
make sure we don't forget that you had asked for. Does it have to do with the complaint tracking
Yes,
system?
it was questions I had based on a report we got. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name.
Chief Kepner.
Chief Kepner, thank you.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I just
And
want to make
and
sure we
Madam
don't.
President, what we could do is check with Betty to see, she keeps all of the ideas that are presented here that
Okay.
should be on the agenda.
Okay. All right,
And she'll be up here as soon as the meeting is over.
all right.
That's our process.
So, you're welcome. Before we adjourn,
So
I want to say.
if I could,
First of all-
Madam President,
I'm
if I
sorry.
could, if this is going to be an ask, maybe you can want to put that on the record, that you're asking the fire department to report back. You don't have to read all the questions in, but you can say it's going to be a report back regarding whatever the subject matter is that you want.
All right. Do I have to say it since you've just said it?
Yes, because you're the boss. You got to say
Okay.
it.
So we have questions regarding the complaint investigation process. And Commissioner DeLuca. DeLucich. It's that G. Why is that G in there? DeLucich.
The gut you.
Gitch. Okay. Has asked for a report back on procedures, assumptions, training, dispositions, She might be looking for monthly reports as we move forward that has to do with number of complaints, disposition, findings, tracking, and then potentially a way in which this stuff is analyzed. So she might be looking for some analysis data. This is an ask from the Fire Commission to the Fire Department, just for the record.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to pass those down to Chief Crowley?
Everybody has one, I
Does
think.
do you have one?
Yes, it was on the table. Letitia gave her, Ms. Gomez gave everyone a copy, and she has extras if
Everybody.
somebody wants one.
Okay. So now I want to make two comments. My first comment is, I am so happy to be back. During my 8 years as a fire commissioner last time around, I came to respect and admire the fire department more than any of you in this room can imagine. I came on as a civilian. I didn't know anything about the fire department. I didn't know the depth of work that was done. I didn't know the breadth of work that was done. I didn't understand the training. I visited I missed 10. I visited almost every fire station while I was on. And I just want to say to you that I bring that same feeling with me this time around. I couldn't be prouder to be on a commission working with the Los Angeles Fire Department. I want to say that I knew Chief Crowley, and we met and we talked because I used to talk with women in the fire service. So I want to share with you that it is my intention, and I want the commission to know that this is my intention. I intend to make sure that this commission is as supportive of your leadership as we possibly can be. I want you to be successful. I remember talking to you. I remember your intellect. I remember your vision. And I am so happy to see you now sitting in that chair. So I just want to make that clear that this for me is really a labor of love and respect and admiration for everything that the fire department does. My second comment is to former President Jimmy Woods Gray. This is not an easy job. We don't get paid. It's very complex, it's very complicated. The fire department is very skill-specific, and when you're a civilian, you don't always understand all of the things that go into making the fire service run the way it does. So it is a running thing, Jimmy, for you to catch up with, to be able to say, now, what is that? What is a CAD? What is a this? What is a that other thing? What is something else? So it's a lot more difficult, I think, when you're the president of the Fire Commission, because you need to know all of those things so that you're knowing how to support, you're knowing what to ask, you're understanding what you're being told. It took me a long time to really understand, and I'd have to have someone go over it with me over and over again. What did you tell me that meant? And, you know, what's the difference between this, that, and the other thing? So I, too, want to thank you very much, not just the 10 years of service, but the 2 years of being the president of the Fire Commission, because it's hard. It really is, and I don't think people really understand that. So thank you for being the president, and thank you for nominating. I don't know whether I should thank Jimmy for nominating me or not. I have to think about that. And my third comment, I always believe in honesty and trust and transparency, because that's the only way we can work together. So I want to be transparent in telling everybody in the room, my nephew is Richard Fields. And I think it's important for people to understand that, so that people will not, there's always gossip that flies around, and, you know, there are people who are related to other people and that kind of thing. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that. In that same vein, I don't supervise Chief Fields. I do not engage in anything that has to do with his duties as a as fire personnel, but I think it is important that people know that there is a connection. He is my nephew, after all. And I do love him, after all. And oh no, there's another. There's not just him. Yes, 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 yes. And I am thrilled with their progress. And I'm respectful of what they do, but Chief Crowley, I want you to know that I'm respectful for who they report to, and it's not me. Okay? So I want to get that out. I think, Carlos, you should, right? Should you not disclose that kind of thing? Because I don't want there to be any conflict, and I don't want people to think that I would be, overstepping or any of that kind of stuff. So that's my last comment, and I really am glad to be here. Any other things that we've left
Madam President,
undone?
before we adjourn, may I ask for a point of personal privilege in that I'm a big picture person. Can I have a picture with everybody
Oh, sure,
who's up here today? And I already have my photographer ready.
I guess. Of course, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
And Ms. Gomez, we want you to picture.
So, I don't know, whoever has the camera, whoever
Yeah.
does that kind of stuff.
And we all just stand
We can do that.
well, maybe I move that we adjourn the meeting, so.
Okay, thank you. I was just going to ask if we could have an adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
we are officially adjourned.
Very good. Okay.
All right.